What's up, everybody? Welcome to another Google Hangout. Super excited to be here with you guys again. I have a new friend with me on the show, Abigail. She has a podcast called Motivational Mondays, and she wanted me to come on her podcast to share some of my thoughts. And I said, yes, let's do it. But how about we turn it into a hangout so that you guys could benefit from it as well and learn about Motivational Mondays too and meet Abigail. So, Abigail, how you doing?
I'm doing really, really great. Thank you so much for coming on the show, for giving us your time. We appreciate it.
Cool. Maybe just a super quick intro for my audience, what you're up to, and then kick it off, however you normally do your show.
Certainly. Well, you can tell by the accent, I'm from London, England, to start off with. I recently moved over to Shanghai, China. It's the second time here in China. It's a beautiful place, really warm people. Love being back. Really excited about the show, the fact that I get to record from over here and explore the culture as well as the community. And overall, I'm a coach, certified life coach, motivator. Most friends, family call me Miss Motivator, hence why the show is called Motivational Monday. And generally speaking, I'm on a mission, I'm on a quest to help people discover their genius. And one of the things we typically have in London is most people dread that Monday morning when they've got to jump on the tube, on the bus, and make that kind of walk or journey into the world of work because they're feeling unfulfilled or dissatisfied with where they are in life. So this show essentially came from that place because I'd been there before and I wanted to give people a boost, a lift, to start their week and give them something to have a sense of inspiration, be inspired, and also put things into perspective. So that's me, really.
I love it. Well, here we are, episode 31. Take it away, Abigail.
Brilliant. Okay, well, I'm just going to kick off with my normal introduction. So, welcome to this week's Motivational Monday, the show that guarantees you the motivation you need to thrive throughout the week. Today, I am graced by being in the presence of greatness. I've got Carmichael as our featured guest on today's show. He's a super successful entrepreneur. Some of you may have come across his YouTube hit channel, which has been dedicated for entrepreneurs, and he's the author of the best-selling book, Your One Word. Seasoned speaker, and his number one quest is to help over 1 billion entrepreneurs around the world to change the world. Hey, Ivan, it's great to have you on the show.
Thanks for having me, Abigail. I'm excited.
I'm even more excited too. Just to kick off with, Ivan, I always like to establish this question with my guests, and that is for you to share what you would consider to be your zone of genius, where you feel you shine the most.
I think I believe in people more than they believe in themselves. I'm allergic to untapped potential, and it frustrates me. And I see that in people that I meet on a daily basis, but also people who are kind of tuning in on social media, writing in on newsletter, people watching the videos. My magic gift is believing in people more than they believe in themselves to go off and do amazing things.
Now that makes sense, hence why the mantra, believe. I mean, that says it all for me, because you live it, you walk it, not only do you talk it. How were you able to develop that skill?
I think it came early on from my parents. They always taught me that I was Evan Carmichael. I could do anything that I wanted. Anytime I didn't do well, if I didn't get a good grade on my report card, or I didn't win that race, or whatever it was that I may have failed at, it was never a punishment. It was never a, you suck, you need to do better. It was always, you're Evan Carmichael, you can do anything that you want. And at some point, the last year of my high school, my own expectations for myself started to pass what my parents expected of me. And I think just like you said in the intro, surrounding yourself with greatness, the reason why I have my YouTube channel, a big part of it is selfishly for myself, to be around people who are doing amazing things. And if you are around people who are doing great things, you just can't help but have some of that rub off on you to want to go and do something more amazing yourself.
I know, and I need to pick up on that because I think, firstly, you need to pay tribute and homage to the work you do and your consistency, Ivan. I've been so inspired week after week day after day, in fact, watching the 10 Rules of Success, either by Oprah Winfrey, right across the board. You pick celebrities, you pick sports personalities, entrepreneurs, and you capture the essence of who they are. And it's so inspiring. So thank you for your contribution and the service you provide the world.
I appreciate that. You know, it started off as a selfish thing for me. I wanted to be around greatness. I wanted to learn from people like Elon Musk or Oprah Winfrey's got such an amazing story. And the challenge is that when you try to watch some of their videos, some of their interviews, a lot of the stuff isn't relevant. A lot of the stuff doesn't necessarily help you. And so I'd be sitting there watching, 8 hours of Elon Musk videos and interviews to pull out 15 to 20 minutes of like really solid gold nuggets. And then I thought, man, wouldn't it be cool if somebody just pulled those out for me, right? So I just have to tune in and just watch that part because I don't care about the other 7.5 hours. And, I guess like a true entrepreneur, instead of complaining about a problem that is out there, we go out and we solve it. And so I feel blessed that I get to do something that I love that fills me up, and then also sharing it. The fact that you guys enjoy it, you're watching it, that I have an audience is great because it allows me to build a team and to do more and more and more, which helps everybody.
Keep it coming, please. What drives you, essentially your why? I know you've touched on it a little bit, but you've been going for a while, and you've got to have something that's kind of the consistent push drive that keeps you going year after year, year after year. What is it?
So I see things as a big why and a little why. My big why is I believe entrepreneurs will solve all the world's major problems. I think any major problem you see out there, it's going to be solved by an entrepreneur. It's not going to, we don't have to rely on our government or big corporations. It's not going to be the president who's going to solve the problems. It's going to be us, like entrepreneurs. We're going to be the ones who solve everything. And so if I can go out and have an impact on 1 billion entrepreneurs I have a tiny impact, right? If I impact you in a 0.5% way, and that leads you to keep going with your podcast, or you bring that to your coaching services, or somehow that impacts your life, and you go off and do something amazing, if I can repeat that 1 billion times, that's major impact on the world. And so that's my big why. The little why for me is just the daily activity that comes in. It's the comments on my channel. It's the feedback that I get. Even here saying, I loved your Oprah Winfrey video. Like it fuels me to know that, yes, it's having a big impact and reaching tons of people, but you don't always see the direct result of it. And to hear somebody say, your videos really touched me, or this is the impact that it had, that's the little why. Like the daily consistent feedback that I get makes me feel good. So those things fuel me and make me want to keep going.
Absolutely. Motivation right there. What one thing, if you had to pick everything or look over your career, what one thing would you say you are most proud of?
What am I most proud of? I think the kind of default one is to look at just being a father, having my son. Hayden is 8 years old now, and seeing his growth and development. And especially for me, as he gets older, it's easier to have conversations and start doing activities. So I think from a personal perspective, that's definitely up there. From a business career-wise perspective, I think I'm just honestly most proud of the actions that I take, just being consistent and having an impact. I think I think a lot of people, and this was me too, you have this dream, you have this vision, you have this idea of something that you think could have an impact, could make a difference, could be a successful business. But then we have these moments of boldness, and then we shrink back down and we feel like, well, who am I to do that big thing? Who am I to try to be the next Steve Jobs or Oprah Winfrey or whoever it is? And we talk ourselves down from doing great things. We talk ourselves away from greatness. And so I think if I'm looking at what am I most proud of, it's from a professional perspective, it's more that when that little voice came inside my head, I learned to push through it and make more videos and make more content and believe in myself and go out and try to do this big, bold, scary thing that maybe I won't accomplish, but it's something that I want to go out and at least give it my best shot.
Love that. There's a common thread here, and that's that word belief, which you talked about as being, your zone of genius. What's the myth associated with self-belief, do you think?
I think a lot of people struggle with self-belief. I think a lot of people struggle to believe that they can do those big, scary things. I think we typically put on a front. You know, if you look at somebody's Instagram profile or Facebook or even YouTube videos, it's their highlight reel. It's all the great things that you're doing. And we just tend to always talk about the good things in our life as if we're comparing or bragging or showing off. But then secretly we go back and we feel like we're not good enough and other people are doing more and we don't deserve what we're doing. And I think a lot of people have imposter syndrome where they, especially when they're getting started in any kind of endeavor, you know, if people want to start to be a life coach, you know, there's the front of, here's all the great things I can help you with. And then there's the inside voice saying, who am I to give advice? Like, who am I to be a life coach? Who am I to start a podcast? Who am I to start a YouTube channel? Who am I to think I could change the world? And because we keep that so hidden, it's hard to get it resolved. When I had my first business, I turned down high-paying jobs that all my friends wanted, you know, 80 to 100K starting salary. It's the jobs that I wanted, my friends wanted, to go be an entrepreneur and make $300 a month and struggle and fail. And I was too embarrassed to tell my friends that I was struggling. You know, I had to pick one thing that I could go to per month with them because $20 for pizza and a beer was too much for me, right? Like I could do that once a month. So I had to say no to birthday parties. I had to say no to going out and just hanging out. And I always use a cover of, I'd love to come, guys, but I'm too busy, you know, entrepreneur, I'm doing my thing. Yeah, we're crushing it. We're doing well. And I was just too ashamed, too embarrassed to say, you know what, guys, like, I'd love to hang out. I can't afford it. And they would have supported me if I did that, right? Like they wouldn't have razzed me. I was just still too embarrassed to do it, which made it harder on myself. If I came out and said, guys, like right now I'm just struggling, I can't afford to do it. Maybe we go do something else, like just hang out at somebody's place instead of going out to a pub or a bar. You know, it would have been a lot easier on me if I just had the self-belief that this is not who I am. It's just what I'm doing right now. Like I'm building something great. I'm going to be amazing, right? Like I am amazing. Not that, you know, just because my results don't speak for themselves yet, it's coming. And so I think we all have a little bit of that feeling of being an imposter, feeling like we're not good enough, we're not worthy enough. And I think that really holds people back from doing amazing things, especially when they are afraid to admit it or afraid to share it, afraid to release it.
Oh, that is so, so good. And just to rehash what you've said there, ladies and gentlemen, this too shall pass. No situation is permanent. So if you can connect and resonate your story, maybe what Evan's beginnings were like, it's always tough at the beginning. It really is. It's humble beginnings. It's at that time where, you know, you're trying to still find your groove, trying to find your place, but don't give up because it too shall pass. Eventually, you do break even on every side. Moving forward, in terms of, I would say, more about you, what's the one thing most people don't know about you?
What's the one thing people don't know about me? I don't know. I'm a pretty open book with myself, and I have a ton of videos talking about things. Some random facts. I like to play League of Legends. If I can't sleep at night because I'm, you know, sometimes it helps me cure my entrepreneur brain. If you're like up at night and like you just got ideas running and I can't sleep, I'll usually get up and play a game of League of Legends and it just distracts me and then I'm able to pass out. So that's one. Anybody listening, Believe team on the North American server, you can look me up. We can maybe get a game together.
Nice.
So that's a good one. We're doing a top 10 on the CEO of Riot Games who created League of Legends. So that's going to be a fun one to put together too. Another thing maybe, you know, I still review every video that we put up on the channel. Everything still passes through me. It still goes through my filter. We've done 5,000 videos now on the YouTube channel. I've seen all of them and I see all the new ones that come out. Even though I have a team, you know, nothing gets released until I've seen it. And I think it's important. Like I think for, you know, the entrepreneurs out there listening, to find the thing, your circle of genius, or like whatever the thing is that you are just amazing at, and making sure that you still have the passion for doing that, chasing that, going all in on that, because that's where you're really going to shine.
Thank you. Now let's turn the wheels of motion back a little bit, because you are super successful. You're a household name in the entrepreneurial space, but I dare say there's been a few dark clouds along the way. Could you take us back to a moment where you hit one of the lowest of the lows, one of your darkest hours?
Abigail's taking me to the pain.
I'm taking you to the dark side.
Yeah. The worst of all, like the worst day of my life was with my business where it wasn't working. We were failing. I told my partner that I quit.
Wow.
I was at a family dinner, Thanksgiving or something like that. And I was at my parents' house, and just things weren't going well. Like, you can only stay on doing something for so long when you're not getting any results, and you just feel like a worthless human being. Like, everything I was trying wasn't working. We're getting zero results. And it just felt like life sucked. It's like, it wasn't for lack of effort. I was putting in tons of effort and just nothing was working.
Right.
And I just felt like I needed to feel valuable somewhere, somehow. Like, this wasn't working. And so I forget why I was on the phone with my partner over Thanksgiving, but we had a call, and I just told him I quit. Like, I can't do this. I need to feel like I'm doing something valuable. And then I hung up the phone, and then I cried my face off, things coming out of my nose, my eyes. It was just terrible. And my mom came up and put her hand on my shoulder, and I don't even know what she said. Something reassuring, I'm sure. Couldn't sleep that night. And then the next morning I just woke up and felt like I can't quit. I could deal with failure. Failure is okay. And if you're not passionate about something, then it's fine to walk away. You don't want to just stay on for the sake of staying on. But I wanted to see this through, and I needed to find another way to stand. Just the way it was going wasn't working. And that's where I came up with one of the most important lessons that I ever learned in my life, which I still use today, around modeling success. And that instead of trying to come up with every single idea yourself, somebody's figured it out. And so by researching their stories and understanding what made them successful, you can model them. And so I learned from Bill Gates, who started Microsoft, and I just asked myself, I'm not the first guy to try to sell software before. Bill Gates doesn't sell the same software that I sell, but it's close enough. And so How did he go from 0 to 1? Like, how did he get started? Well, how did that happen? That's what I want to know. And I researched how he did that, and it was through partnership. So I started trying to find partnerships. And within the first couple of weeks, I landed my first partnership, and they paid us $13,500. It was a UK company, actually. and like $13,500 doesn't sound like a lot of money. It's not making it rich, but to me, when I was making $300 a month, $13,500 was like I won the lottery. I was on top of the world. And to have it happen within just a couple of weeks of this new strategy, where we struggled to get anything going. And more importantly, I had a strategy that I could do again. Like, I could repeat that, find more partners. And that started to turn around the business. And so that was the most painful moment of my life, but it also led to one of the most powerful lessons that I've ever learned in my life, and I still use today. So out of great pains usually can come really great things.
Indeed. In fact, they can become defining moments. Just for the sake of anyone tuning in who may be experiencing, just as you had back then, that feeling of it's not working, I've tried everything I can. It could be from their marriage, their relationship, their finances, or they've got a startup company, and it's just hard. What advice would you give them? So
I think it really comes down to thinking about if you still have a passion for this thing or not. If you have a deep passion for this thing that you're working on, whether that's a relationship, whether that's a business, whether that's a career, whether that's school, whatever it is, if you still have a passion for it, then you have to find a way to make it work, because otherwise you're going to regret it. Like, you're going to regret just quitting too soon. The idea of never quit really rings true if you still have a passion for what you're doing. If you don't, like if you tried something and you lost passion, or you were in a relationship and you just stopped loving the person, or you started a business and it just wasn't what you thought it was going to be, as soon as you lose the passion, that's when you want to move on to something else. I think a lot of people actually hold on for too long to things that they've lost passion for.
So true.
And so it's really doing that gut check to say, is this something that I am still passionate about? And if it is, then I have to find a way to keep going. And I think what you'll find is, as you look at successful people, and I've studied, maybe definitely more than most people, maybe more than some of the other websites in the world, one of the things that consistently comes up is that they love the work. And so you're not as addicted to the outcome of the work, you love the process of the work. And so for me, in making YouTube videos, sure, my next goal is to hit 1 million subscribers before the end of the year. Yes, my goal is to hit 1 billion entrepreneurs, in my lifetime. But it's not about hitting that number. Like, I enjoy making videos. I enjoy the process. I enjoy the researching. I enjoy doing conversations like this. I enjoy the process. And so it doesn't feel like work as much. And so if you can get to that point where you are enjoying the work, not every day is amazing. You're going to have tons of, being an entrepreneur is a lot of crap you have to deal with. But net, like if you're doing a podcast, you better enjoy interviewing people. Absolutely. If you don't, and your only goal is to try to be a top, 100 podcaster, you're never going to get there. And so I think too many people are in the wrong thing. They're just chasing an opportunity. They're just trying to reach a certain goal, and they'll say they'll do whatever it takes to get there, but you won't, because you don't actually have the passion for the work. Where if you do have that passion, then you just have to keep going, even if it doesn't make sense, even if it, there's no practical, logical outcome for this. You just know that you have to do it. You mentioned Oprah Winfrey. When she did her first on TV segment, she came away from it saying she felt like she was breathing, like for the first time. Like, this felt like I was breathing for the first time. And she knew she had to do it, even though people who look like her never had done it before. Like, she would be the first, but it doesn't matter. Like, I need to keep doing it. When I first started helping entrepreneurs, it was at a free workshop with the local YMCA, and 3 people showed up to a free event. You're thinking, 3 people show up to a free event. How are you ever going to make this a business? Like, how are you ever going to make money from this if you can't get more than 3 people with a partner, and it's free? But it didn't matter, because I loved it. Like, the vibe was so great. Even if I never found a way to make money from it, I needed to keep doing it to fill my soul. And so that's the thing that you need to find. And if you found it, then don't get so attached to the immediate outcomes. If you keep going at it, and just, for me, what really helped was studying the success stories of people like Oprah and Richard Branson and Steve Jobs, because for all of them, it didn't just work out. They failed and struggled and sucked at the beginning and felt the self-doubt. And just reading all those stories for me, and now watching the videos, just made me feel like these people are not that different than me. Like, where they came from, a lot of them, they came from a worse situation than what I'm in right now. Like Oprah growing up, it's hard to imagine having a worse situation than her, right? Like, multiple family members as her parents, being, sexually abused as a child, being so poor that she had to go to school wearing potato bags. Like, her grandmother would take potato bags and make it into a dress, and that's how she would go to school, because she couldn't afford a dress. Like, it's hard to imagine anybody listening that your life is worse than that, like that your upbringing is worse than that. And look at what Oprah became, right? And so, like, that's the story of success. It's all of these getting through the failures and the things that aren't working and the frustration. And if you are on that path and you found the thing that you love, but it's just not working out, then you have to keep going. You have to keep finding. You have to keep modeling success. You have to create an environment that will support you. But if you haven't, if you've lost the passion, you're just chasing an opportunity because, Fortune magazine said this is the hot trend of 2017, then you're going to cut that loose, right? And so for anybody going through that, it's really that gut check moment. If you're still passionate, you got to keep going. If you're not, then drop it as soon as you can.
Absolutely. And, I think I heard it said that it takes about 10 years to become an overnight success. So bear that in mind. You will be tested along the way just to see whether or not, you want it bad enough, how much you really want it. You'll be tried and tested along the way, but that's what makes you great at the end. In terms of passion projects, what are you excited about at the moment?
I'm excited about what I do. Like, I think my business is always a reflection of what I'm excited about. I think that's a mistake a lot of entrepreneurs make, is they get excited about something, they're doing it, maybe they start making some money, and then they lose their passion for it, and they stop innovating, and the success that they had become anchors to move forward. You feel like now you've just bought yourself a job, where now you got to show up and do this thing where before it was
Right.
exciting. I think you need to evolve your business or evolve your career with how you evolve as a human being. Like, you will change, you will have new passions, new interests, and you need to change the work that you do to fit that mold. What happens to too many people is they wait too long, and then that gap becomes so big between where they are now as a human being and where their career is at, that they're forced to do a major life change. Or I think it's much better to evolve your career, your business, as you evolve as a person. And so, you know, if you asked me 5 years ago, I would have been all in on my website. Like, we're killing on the website. We just signed up, you know, for 3,000 authors. We're creating tons of content. Now, I'm not excited by the website. Like, we had the website, it's growing. We're trying to find ways to make it continue to grow. But my passion has shifted to the YouTube channel, right? And so I'm doing tons of stuff on YouTube. And that's where I'm dedicated. Like, every day I wake up, I look at my YouTube channel, the comments, the videos, the series, how we're doing. I've got my book, and we're getting the book going. If you asked me a year ago, I would have said, like, nah, or 2 years ago, maybe I didn't even want to write a book. And so I think it's good to, when you get an idea, to try to test it. Find some small way to test it and get it going and get it building, and not make it some big, huge thing it seems impossible then to build, because we get these ideas, right? Like, I'm going to be a life coach, right? And I'm going to be a life coach. And then as I grow it, I can build a team of life coaches. I'm going to have like 40 people under me, and then I'm going to launch events and products and services. And it becomes this life coaching empire, which then becomes so scary to look at. I say, well, I can't start that until I get venture capital financing, and I need $3 million to get that thing going. And then it becomes a scary, huge thing that you never take any kind of action on. And so I think as soon as you're interested in something, just find some small way to get started. If you want to start a YouTube channel, pick up your phone and make a video. Like, you don't need the gear and the cameraman and all of this stuff to get going. And so my business is always a reflection of what I'm excited by. And so right now, I'm excited by my book. I'm excited by my YouTube channel. I'm excited about the second book that I'm in the process of creating. And that may change in 3 months, in 6 months. Like, I don't know what I'm going to be doing in 5 years, apart from it's going to be making a big impact. That's the goal.
It's really good advice. I love that. Last question before we take our break. If your life had a theme song, what would it be?
The theme song, that's great. I'm going to go with a song I had on repeat this morning, Pata Pata. I don't remember who sings it. It's some super obscure salsa song. But it's a really upbeat, energetic, like, you listen to it, you just want to move and smile. And so I like the optimism behind it.
Love that. I love salsa anyway. So yeah, you've got me smiling. After the break, we explore by opening the door with the 4 keys to mindset mastery, morning routine, maintaining personal growth, and managing health and wellness, which can massively influence our motivational levels. Don't go anywhere. All right, we're back on the second half of today's show with Ivan Carmichael. You may already be familiar with his YouTube successful videos. You just need to go onto his YouTube site, his actual page. He's got tons and tons of videos there, from the 10 rules of success to motivational stuff. I've lived off of most of his content for a good couple of years, and everyone I've introduced his videos to absolutely love them. He's also the author of The One Word as well, so grab yourself a copy. Let's talk to you about your mindset mastery, because I'm interested, Ivan, in what you do, how you're able to cultivate a mindset when going through tough times or even tough mornings. How do you personally motivate yourself to keep going?
I think the environment that you're in really plays a huge difference. I think there are moments where we can convince ourselves to come out of a dark hole, where we can have a great day, where we can say, okay, today I'm going to be bold and I'm going to do something. Or maybe I listen to your podcast on a Thursday afternoon, and I get inspired and, like, I'm motivated now, I'm going to go do something. But then we wake up the next day and it's gone. And right. That drive, like, that bold person that I was yesterday, what happened? Where did that person go? And so it's hard when you have to think about it and plan it every day. And so what I find really helps is to create an environment and a routine that supports you being bold every day, just by you getting out of bed. So you've planned it once, and then it happens based on what's your environment. So if you walk into my office, you'll see pictures of people that I look up to and respect on the wall, and you'll see, like, giant faces of them. So you walk in, and, like, boom, you got Steve Jobs and Howard Schultz and my parents like staring you in the face.
Nice.
And that inspires me. Like, yeah, okay, this is what I'm doing. I put on music to help me get in the zone, because when I wake up, I'm not fired up. I don't wake up like, I can't believe it's Thursday. I'm going to crush today. It's amazing. Like, that's not how I start my days, right? I wake up, I'm tired, groggy. And so even just putting on a song really helps. So I think the environment that you're in and the people you pay attention to really makes a difference. I think, for example, if you wanted to be more confident, if that's when we talk about self-belief, if you want to be more confident, you can read a book on how to be more confident and learn like the 7 ways to be more confident, which can definitely help. I think what's equally or potentially even more helpful is to be around confident people. So if you're either in your environment, like you actually have people around you, or you're just watching videos. For me, I get a lot from my videos. When I watch videos of Steve Jobs and Elon Musk and Oprah Winfrey, they're not telling you, here are the 3 ways to think big, right? There's never prescriptive like that. But just watching them, how they talk, how they think, how they react to things, makes me bolder, gives me more confidence. And so the more that I'm around that, the more that it creates that mindset for me that is different than my friends or my immediate circle or the people who are here, because I want to be able to have that kind of level of impact. And so if you can find the people, and that's for me, entrepreneurship, boldness, like those are the people I look up to. If your thing is family or love or, parenthood or whatever it is, find the people that you respect who are doing it really, 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 really well. And the more you're around their content or around them as a human being, then it just can't help. Like, it rubs off on you to make you want.
It's contagious.
It is.
That's right. It's contagious. And here we go. It's a Jim Rohn quote, the famous quote that we are the subtotal of the 5 people we spend the most time with. They don't always need to be in the same room. They can be people you watch from afar, read their material. But if you're consuming what they do, and you can learn and observe even from a distance, something on them has to rub off on you. Moving over to morning routine, which I know you're all about actually, so I'm keen to learn from you. What tools, apps, or resources do you specifically use?
Tools, apps, or resources. So I don't think you need to get too caught up on the tools or the resources. I think the biggest thing is just the habits. I think a lot of people get stuck. And I've witnessed this with entrepreneurs that I've been helping. They just get stuck on the tools. It's like, okay, I'm going to use Evernote. Evernote didn't work for me. I'm going to use Google Calendar. That didn't work for me. It's like they keep blaming the tools. And at some point, like, if all these tools aren't working, maybe it's not the tools. Like, maybe it's you. Maybe it's your habits. Maybe you got to fix yourself first, right? And so, I use a tool on my phone that just kind of is a habit tracker that just reminds me of what I need to do at different points. So it's like there's a morning, lunch, evening, and most of them I remember to do, but it's a good reminder. Like at noon every day, I get a reminder. Check in with Nina, my wife. Just ask how she's doing. And normally I'll have sent her something anyway, but maybe I'm really busy and I forget. Like, oh, there's a reminder. Okay, but whether you use an app like that or a calendar or you have a notebook, it doesn't make a huge difference. I think what really matters is when you have the self-awareness to figure out what drives you. So for me, it starts with your one word, like mine is believe, whatever yours is, whatever the people who are listening are. So if it's believe for me, then how do I create a morning routine that makes me feel believe in the biggest, strongest possible way every morning so I can go out and have an amazing day? And so that's the physical environment. I talked about my office. That's the music that I listen to. I have a believe playlist. So like Pata Pata makes me happy, makes me dance, makes me move, right? You may listen to it and say, that is the stupidest song I've ever heard in my life. Doesn't matter. Like, there's no one, like, not everybody likes the same video. Some people may hate Oprah. Great. Like, don't watch that video. Go learn from somebody else, right? So we've all had these moments of boldness and confidence and feeling alive, whatever that is, right? And there's no judgment. If hugging your dog in the sunlight like makes you feel happiness, then do that every morning. Whatever the thing is that makes you feel that aliveness, because we've all felt it, instead of having it randomly happen on a Thursday afternoon, like plan that in to your morning routine. If listening to Abigail gets you fired up, start your day every day with Abigail. There's over 30 episodes. You can go through one a month and then repeat them. I guarantee you, if you did the thing that gets you feeling bold and confident and motivated, if you did that every single morning for for a year, like your life would be so dramatically different at the end of that year than where it is today, just because you've altered your morning routine and your mindset around confidence and being bold.
So good. Maintaining personal growth. What one book would you recommend that's been most inspiring to you?
So the two books I usually recommend, one is The 4-Hour Workweek, Tim Ferriss. That one was more about productivity. And at the time that I read that, I needed productivity help and just the idea of building a team and outsourcing and that kind of work. I don't believe in a 4-hour work week. Like, I think if you love what you're doing, you should be putting tons of hours into it. But that book really helped me at that time. The other one is now out of print. It's called Radicals and Visionaries. And that was a daily hit that I used, where it was profiles of I don't know, 50 different famous entrepreneurs. And it was 3 to 4 pages on each of them and just what made them successful. And I read that every morning. I just read one profile every morning for motivation for myself and also for some ideas. Like, okay, here's how Michael Dell did it. So some strategy, but also just I'm spending 3 minutes with Michael Dell. There are 3 pages with Michael Dell today. Right? Like, just that motivation really helped me. I think now I get most of my growth and development from the videos that I create. I'm much more of a visual learner, and so I consume it better when I can see it. And really, my channel has become what that book was to me. You know, instead of reading 3-4 pages on a famous entrepreneur, now I can watch a video and hear from them directly. So those are the two that really had an impact on me for different reasons, you know, in my career.
Fantastic. And our last question before we wrap up today's show: managing health and wellness. What do you specifically do to stay healthy and happy?
So that's interesting. I would probably split those two. I don't know how much. I mean, health and happiness is connected, but maybe not as strong in my mind. If I go health to start, you know, I've lost 30 pounds, 30 plus pounds since the beginning of the year. I used to get sick all the time. I had a mindset of, I have a weak immune system. If you're sick, don't come near me because I'm going to get sick. And in January, I got really sick. I had hiccups. Like, this is really embarrassing. I had hiccups for 4 or 5 days straight, and I would get these bursts of like 4 or 5 hours of hiccups, and I couldn't stop it. Just hiccuping. It's like, and I tried everything. Drink water upside down, breathe into your sleeve, you know, all of the things that people tell you to do, and none of it worked. Eventually I got through it, and I just decided I'm not going to get sick again. Like, this is nuts. It's not just embarrassing, but like, I got work to do. I got lives to change. We got stuff to do, man. I can't be sitting here on the couch for 4 or 5 days. And I went on a journey to try to get my health better. So part of that was hiring a personal trainer, and, you know, my wife and I do work with him, weights twice a week, and we do cardio twice a week. Part of it became changing the diet and paying attention to what we're eating. Part of it became experimental stuff. I don't know if you know Wim Hof and his breathing technique, but basically breath work and cold showers, and doing that on a regular basis. And I've gotten sick once since then. And it's, you know, the date of recording this, you know, we're closing in on the last bit of the year. And I've gotten sick once since January. And so it's like just a huge turnaround just by focusing on it. Like, what you focus on, you're going to get better at. Whether it's trying Wim Hof kind of stuff, hiring a trainer, just working on your own, paying attention to your diet, I think makes a huge difference. Happiness, again, I think there is a connection. You know, when you're sick, you're not happy. When I was on the couch with hiccups, I was not happy. But I think happiness comes more from being able to do, just being fulfilled. You know, if that's in your work, feeling like the work that you're doing today is going to matter, right? Like, I'm waking up, I'm doing work, I'm going to talk to Abigail today, I'm going to talk to some other people, like feeling like this matters. People hate wasting their time and feeling like there's no growth. And that doesn't only have to be from a career perspective. Like, it's weekend, I'm going to spend time with my mom. I want that time to matter. Feeling like you're in the moment, like the work you're doing or the time you're being spent is impactful, makes a difference, means something. I think if you're doing that on a consistent basis, you're going to be a lot happier than if you feel like life sucks. because you could be in the best shape of your life and have the best health, but still be insanely unhappy because
Of course.
your work sucks and your career sucks and your relationships suck. And so just feeling like you're fulfilled, I think, is a huge part of your overall happiness.
Absolutely. Wow. You've been just nailing it all throughout today's show. Lastly, as we wrap up, what would you like to leave our listeners with today? The final call of action, and how can they connect with you?
So for connecting, I'm on most of the social networks. The YouTube channel is where most people know me for. I think if you want to connect one-on-one, Twitter and Instagram are probably going to be your best bets. A little bit of Snapchat. Right. And if you want the book, wherever you go to buy books, it's there. In terms of a final message, I would just say to make your life more important, make today matter more. I think too often we put things off. You might be listening to this and saying, okay, yeah, great. Like starting tomorrow, I'm going to get on my horse. I'm going to go chase that thing. And then you don't tomorrow, but it's like the next day, tomorrow I'll do it. And then tomorrow, like you feel like there's infinite time. You feel like there's a lot of time to make this stuff happen. And then you look back and it's like, where did the past 10 years go? Like make it important, make every day important, make what you're doing today something you want to show your grandkids. Like what you make today, you want to be proud of, you want to hang your hat on and say, I did this today and I want to show my grandkids. I want my grandkids to listen to this episode with Abigail and what we talked about today. Like I'm proud of this episode. I'm proud of the work that I'm doing. And I think if you took that approach that today matters, I'm going to do something important, impactful, meaningful today. You do that every day and not just listen to another podcast or read another book or watch another video and get inspired, but then don't take action. It's that follow through that really makes a difference. Make your life more important.
Indeed. I am afraid that is all we have time for today. But if you go over to abigaleotchere.com/podcast, you'll be able to check today's show notes, links, everything in order to click and connect with Ivan's YouTube page for sure, as well as everything else, such as his book, which I strongly recommend you go and grab yourself a copy. Ivan, thank you. Thank you for crushing it throughout this episode. I've learned a ton of stuff. I've been most inspired talking with you, and I'm sure our listeners have been also.
Thanks for love, Abigail. And thank you for everything you're doing too to help motivate people to live their best lives. I appreciate that.
Bless you. I'm afraid, ladies and gentlemen, that's all we have time for today. But certainly if you check out today's links and everything else, all the information will be there. I'll catch you same time, same place next week for a fresh dose of motivation. Take care.